Architectural Board of Review for February 3rd, 2025. Roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I will start with roll call. Vice Chair Whalen.
Here.
Board Member Anderson.
Here.
Board Member Black.
Here.
Board Member Noon.
Here.
Board Member Six.
Here.
Chair Anderson.
Sorry. I'm here.
Thank you. We have quorum.
Get confused.
Board Member Anderson.
Here.
Okay.
Well, she saw that I was here and she was just representing me.
Yes, yeah. It's a team effort here. Okay, so we'll move on to general business. Item A is public comment. So any member of the public may address the board for up to 2 minutes on any subject within its jurisdiction that is not on today's agenda.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for general public comment. However, if anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill one out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will move on to virtual attendance. And at this time, I do not have any hands raised for general public comment on virtual attendance, and we did not receive any written correspondence for general public comment. So I thought I will turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, we will close general public comment and move on to the approval of the minutes from our meeting on Tuesday, January 21st.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. On the screen are the full board minutes from the 21st.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's go to vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, let's move on to the approval of the minutes from the consent meeting on January 13th and Tuesday, January 21st.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. Here are the January 13th consent minutes. And the 21st consent minutes.
Motion to approve as submitted.
Second.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six. Motion passes.
Okay, then let's move on to the ratification of action taken on the consent calendar of January 27th.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. The two items on the 27th consent agenda were item 1, 2830 State Street, and that received project design approval and final approval, and item 2, 3980 Via Lucero Unit B, and that was continued indefinitely.
I'll make a motion to ratify the actions taken on these consent items.
Second.
Okay.
Chair Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen,
Yes.
Board Member Anderson,
Yes.
Board Member Black,
Yes.
Board Member Noon,
Yes.
Board Member Six. Motion passes.
Okay, do we have any announcements, requests by applicants for continuances and withdrawals or future agenda items or appeals?
Yes, Chair Anderson, thank you, Ellen Kokinda, Design Review Supervisor. I just want to say good afternoon to the board and let you know that you might have seen an article in NewsHawk or other news outlets about the Sears building. And so, as you would suspect, that is under ABR purview. So we tentatively have that scheduled for March 3rd, so you can expect that project to be coming through under a pre-application. So it is not a formal planning application, just the pre-application, but we will treat it like a regular ABR hearing. And Patsy Price is a contract planner with the city, and she's currently the project manager. So if there are any questions, or there's probably a lot of questions coming in, and so we will be directing them to her. But just know that it will be coming your way.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kokinda, is Ms. Price also the planner for the Macy's site?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any subcommittee reports?
And if I may make one other announcement, Chair Anderson, the objective design and development standards will be at City Council tomorrow, at tomorrow's City Council hearing.
Great. Okay, with that, we'll close general business and move on to item 1. This is a courtesy review for 1125 East Montecito Street, adjacent to Franklin Neighborhood Center. It's a courtesy review of Book Bench concept located in the public right-of-way in front of the Franklin Neighborhood Center on the street from the east side, up the street from the East Side Library. Project was reviewed by the Arts Advisory Committee and approved in concept. Project being completed with support of the Friends of Santa Barbara Public Library and Metropolitan Transit District. They're requesting comments on Book Bench concept. The content of the artwork itself is outside of the ABR purview. Welcome. Please introduce yourselves and walk us through the project.
Before we begin, Ms. Kokinda, could you explain what a courtesy review is specifically?
Sure, yes. So a courtesy review, there's no formal action today, and we are here if you have any questions or can make comments on the project, but the artwork, your purview is only the size and location, not the content itself. And for the comments, there's no motion, so at the end, we'll just summarize your comments.
And if I may, especially for some of the board members who are a little newer to this process, we do courtesy review. Again, there's no formal action taken, but a lot of it has to do with public art. And so if there's any kind of public art in the right-of-way, that would generally be under ABR's purview. But again, it's art, it's protected by First Amendment. Our Arts Advisory Council does does the heavy lifting and kind of the vetting of projects. And so we still bring courtesy review. We did one of the recent ones we did was at the diving one. There was the metal diving sculpture, if you all recall. So again, you all provided really excellent comments of kind of consideration for location and other things. So this is kind of in the same vein. Thank you.
Chair, members of the board, Brandon Bodette, I'm the acting library director, and I'm joined by Sarah York-Rubin. She's the executive director for the Santa Barbara County Office of Arts and Culture. And we have a fun little project actually that we'd like to run by you guys. It is a book-themed bus bench. Sorry, too many B's. A book-themed bus bench adjacent to the East Side Library and the Franklin Neighborhood Center. Sorry. Here's what it kind of looks like in concept. So it's a book on its spine, if you will, bent over. The dimensions would fit into the existing footprint of the bus bench there currently. Dimensions are 48 inches wide, 38 inches in height, and 38 inches in depth. The base is a powder-coated steel, and the bench is made up of fiberglass laminate. It will be hand-painted by an artist who is going to be basing the artwork on the original artwork of a book that's been chosen. The bus bench on the side there is what's in London at the moment, so just kind of give you a visual kind of what it looks like. Location is located here, where the X marks the spot. So this is the East Side Library here. Here's the Franklin Neighborhood Center, and the bus bench. I'm gonna get this. The bus bench is literally located here. It's located directly in front of the Franklin Neighborhood Center, and here's you can kind of see it from a street view on this side there. The bench kind of continues the mission of bringing public art to the area. If you're familiar with the area, the back of the East Side Library there has a big mural on the back-facing wall, facing the parking lot. So it kind of is cohesive with the area. And this is a community partnership. So Friends of the Santa Barbara Public Library are involved in this. We're partnering also with MTD, of course, who will be helping. We also have some money being donated by SB Beautiful to help pay for the bench. So we have lots of community partnership involved. The theme of the bench will be based off this book, Makana is a Gift. It's by the author Janet Lucy, who is local, actually an East Side resident. The book was actually translated in both English and Spanish. The Spanish translation was actually done by a former Santa Barbara public employee. The book itself is kind of based off this a green sea turtle kind of navigating life's challenges and processes, learns who he is in the role of the world, and it's a fun little story. I made sure to run this by our youth services librarian, who immediately knew what I was talking about once I said it. So the fact that she went and pulled it right off the shelf, it's a widely popular book. The artist will be Anne Hefferman. She is a local artist, muralist, and teacher at UCSB. She will be doing the hand painting of the book itself, the artwork. There's some examples of her artwork on the side here. The original artwork was done by a Mexico native, Alexis Cantu, who has graciously given us permission to go ahead and use her artwork to do so. And that is it. We'll open for comments and some questions.
Thank you. Do we need to open public comment for this? Okay, so we'll open public comment for item 1.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this particular project. If anyone wishes to make a comment, they may fill a slip out and bring it to me. I see no one in the audience moving to do so, so we will go ahead and turn our attention to virtual attendance. And at this time, I do not have any hands raised for public comment on virtual attendance, and we did not receive any written correspondence. So at that, I will turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Okay, I'll close public comment and go to questions from the board. Board Member 6.
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. Fun idea. There's a base in the photograph of the example. Will this not have that extra base? It'll be right down at the level of the sidewalk.
That's correct, Board Member 6. It would just be the existing footprint. You actually can see it kind of here. It's this existing sidewalk. It's more
Okay.
kind of almost bolted on.
So there's not a double step up?
There's not a double step.
And can it be moved away from the tree? The existing bench seems to be crowding the tree, or the tree will crowd the artwork, is my,
Supposed to.
it's just a comment, I guess.
We can definitely explore that with MTD.
I think it would be,
I need to double check with clearance of the bench, or the bus rather, and
Yeah.
ADA accessibility, something like that.
it would be nice to have it more standalone, so it's not interfered with the tree. Or is that a tree?
Post.
Post, excuse me, okay, yes. And then this is a pre-manufactured thing, or is it a custom manufactured?
The bench itself is pre-manufactured.
Uh-huh,
Yeah, we installed and then put the artwork on
yeah.
there, on site.
So I hope the material, fiberglass is not thin to where it will be hollow feeling when one sits upon it. And the other thing is there, I'm sure that there'll be care taken for the wearing of the artwork, shellac or whatever protective material that needs to be.
It will be, thank you, Commissioner, board members. It'll be a marine grade rosin.
Okay.
And so marine paint, because it's fiberglass, so it adheres well, and then a rosin with a UV sealant and a grit.
Great. And the edges will be custom painted by the same artist?
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Vice Chair Whalen.
Well, that was my question too, or how permanent are these paints and painting? You've answered that they are marine grade, and tearing off Mr. Six's comments that the permanency of fiberglass, well, it has a limited life, but I'm sure you've evaluated all that. So that's my only question that got answered. Thank you.
Board Member Black.
Just because I wasn't clear, so there's one artist that's creating the design and another one that's executing it, or is it one and the same? I wasn't clear about that.
The same artist will create the design and paint it. It's based off another artist, but she will be doing the design work herself and then doing the actual
Oh, it's based
artwork.
on another,
Correct.
okay, got it. No other questions?
Board Member Noon.
No questions.
Board Member Anderson.
What's the height of the seat?
You know, I don't know the height of the seat. The back is 38 inches in height. Yeah.
Is that it?
But we would ensure ADA accessibility in terms of the height.
And the dimension lengthwise is the same as the metal bench that we see there?
Yeah.
More or less?
It would be more or less than the same exact footprint.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's go into comments. Board Member 6.
I think it's a delightful project, a lot of fun, and look forward to seeing it. And just as I said, that it would be nice to work with the bus company to see if you can uncrowd it from that pole so it stands alone.
Okay, Vice Chair Whalen.
I think this is a very strong concept that's appropriate, inventive, and creative, everything that you want a library to believe in. Personally, I don't think it should reflect any publication or character. I have a feeling we live in a world of the Disney hegemony. Thank goodness it's not Nemo on there. But to that end, I would like to be assured that this inventive design doesn't collect water and dirt, and there's some way that that all drains off, and that's you've handled. But those are my comments.
Board Member Black?
Yeah, I'd agree with the comment about the location. It just seems kind of pushed up against that post. I think that's, visually, it's a little problematic for me. But, and then also, are you going to have any sort of written description that basically describes the history of the piece and who the artists are and what the story is about and some background on the piece, as opposed to somebody coming up and going, gee, it looks familiar, but I'm not sure where that's from?
As of now, we were just going to include the name of the artist and author. There won't be any sort of plaque or narrative beyond that.
Will there be a description of what the design is about?
Yeah, like a book title, book
Yeah.
author type situation, but that's,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, I think it's going to be great.
Board Member Noon?
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to the previous comments. I think it's a fun little project, so well done.
Board Member Anderson?
Yeah, I think it looks a bit chunky, and I think it doesn't seem to kind of, if it's a kid's book, it seems like proportionally it would be, just from that photo, a bit kind of like high for a kid to sit on, and I think that stands out in the formal expression of it. I agree with the other comments in that some sort of specific narrative might be a little bit more, make it more compelling, that you could kind of read about whatever this is exactly. And then, yeah, the functionality, I think, and the formal expression stands out. It doesn't seem to, just from the image, look like it would be either super comfortable for an adult or a child, so, yeah.
Okay. And yes, I'll echo quite a few of the comments. I think it's a great location, great project, great concept. I would be a little concerned about it feeling hollow, as mentioned earlier, so maybe just consider some kind of foam insert or something inside to help with that. And yeah, it might become more of an art piece versus functional, but who knows? I think it's good. Any other comments before we wrap up? Okay, well, thank you very much. All right, we will move on to item number 2. This is a new item for concept review. 3055 De La Vina Street. Proposal to convert the existing hotel to permanent supportive housing pursuant to Assembly Bill 2162 and state density bonus law. The development is comprised of 32 studio units and one bedroom manager's unit. The project includes renovating the hotel office into a community room and office for supportive services, permitting a residential laundry room, hardscape and landscape improvements, including common outdoor spaces, and restriping the parking lot to provide 17 vehicle spaces. No final appealable decision will be made at this hearing. Project will require compliance with project compatibility findings, urban design guidelines, upper State Street area design guidelines, and outdoor lighting design guidelines. Welcome. I think your planner is here. Do you want to say anything before we get started?
Thank you, Chair. No, I think the project description covers quite a lot of it. This is the first time this is being presented in front of the board. It is a supportive housing project, very much needed. We've done a pre-application consultation review internally for this project, as well as one full internal review. They are looking for comments from your board today. I would ask if the board can provide feedback as to consistency with the findings that you would be making at an approval date. as well as if you'd consider continuing the project to consent if they are providing enough information, as we're trying to streamline this review as much as possible. As noted in the description, it is supportive housing, it's 100% affordable, and it's essentially adaptive reuse of the existing building. They're going to be restriping the parking lot, doing some upgrades like that, as well as converting the office to more community uses based on the use. That's overall it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, well, if you guys can introduce yourselves, you'll have 15 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. Rob Fredericks with the Housing Authority of the City of Santa Barbara. Pleased to be here again. And we're excited to be here about this important 100% affordable adaptive reuse project of what was the Quality Inn at 3055 De La Vina. And as Pilar mentioned, we're processing this application under AB 2162, and from my perspective, that provides us by right redevelopment and meets the city's design, as long as it meets the city's design standards and therefore exempt from design review. However, we do want your feedback, so that's why we're here, and that's what we want to get from you today. We don't want this just to be another development. We want this to be one that benefits the community, and not just in terms of providing affordable housing, but also elevating the community through design. And we're on a fast-track timeline to meet state funding guidelines to make this happen. So that's one of the reasons why we're pushing forward. We met with the surrounding neighborhood twice to get their input and feedback, and we offered 3 different redevelopment design styles to them to choose, and they overwhelmingly chose Spanish colonial, which was our favored vernacular as well. And we can't wait to transform this existing development, which I can only describe as shabby faux French chateau style, to something that's more in alignment with what the community desires and what will fit in with the Santa Barbara look, as well as meeting the needs of the future residents. So all that being said, I'll turn it over now to Katie Moses with RRM Design.
Hello, thank you. My name is Katie Moses, architect with RRM Design Group. I'm here with Katie Klein, landscape architect. And as mentioned, there were some community meetings that we kind of got everybody's input, gave them a Monterey style, and Spanish was kind of the overarching community desire. So kind of go down to the existing photos. I don't know how much you've paid attention to this, but I feel like I drive by quite a bit. And there are some unique features to this building that I think can, we've kind of taken a look at and can work with the existing features to kind of reuse them and adapt them to a different design. Site plan wise, right now there's quite a bit of parking along San Marquand, and I think with the needs of the housing authority, changing it to supportive housing, they have a lot of properties and know the needs of their residents. So we've gotten it down to 17 parking spaces, and that allows the street frontage to be a little more friendly to the neighborhood. That was one of the big community meeting asks. Also working with this corner to try to provide an accessible path of travel onto the site and meet some accessibility upgrades. In that way, new trash enclosure that we're working with the city on might shift a little bit. Upgrading utilities just because of we're adding kitchenettes and the laundry facilities, so a new transformer, providing a new stairway over here. I think dead end corridor, some code stuff. It's not in the greatest condition, so new stair. Slightly reconfiguring the laundry area over here to make that work. I think the existing footprint is slightly, it's hard to tell where the building actually was. Floor plan wise, units are staying largely the same. That's the demo plan. We are upgrading a couple units to fully accessible units, adding kitchenettes. They're pretty small, but doing what we can. As mentioned, kind of reconfiguring the laundry to make that work. As well as the lobby building, kind of interior footprint, making some changes there. Second floor plan, similar, units are staying pretty close to the same, adding kitchenettes and then converting 2 units into a manager's unit that's a little bit larger. Roof-wise, we're replacing the existing cement tile to a Spanish clay tile. Here's the existing elevations and kind of with the coining at the corners and Juliet balconies, and some unique windows that we've taken a look at, and so kind of replacing a couple of the roof features with little Spanish awning, taking these existing kind of little vent pop-ups and giving them a little more Spanish character. I think the new stair does quite a bit to help with that. Balcony railing, adding a little kind of roof entry feature off of San Marquand. Also including kind of a little pop-up with awning at the lobby building. Right here there was a kind of overhang over that we have already demolished, more for access into the site. And I think that's all from materials, kind of going with some existing. The existing doors and windows are staying, so I think the existing window color, I think they're clad. But door color is similar, just black wrought iron, black dark bronze, gutters, downspouts. A lighter white stucco. And then, Katie, do you want to kind of go for landscape? Yeah.
I'm gonna zoom into the materials first. So I just want to briefly go over the materials. We have worked with Civil and we've identified that we'll need as much permeable paving as we can. So I'll walk you through the alternating decisions as far as colors there. In general, Spanish style, incorporating some tile risers and steps where we can. From the images here, we do have a pergola, we'll do wood, and just in general, we'll have some wood benches, and this is just the general palette, I would say. And I'll walk you through the site plan for landscape. Starting over here on San Marquand, you'll notice it's quite steep. It's like 10% through here. So I just want to point out that we also have worked with Civil to study the wall heights through here. So it'll start around 6 inches and get to a max of 3 feet. So, and then it steps down into these areas. So it's complex grading in here, but I just want to speak to the fact that we have looked at all that and the aesthetics of how that will look. We're adding new trees. We're not removing any. We're keeping 3. There's existing Chinese flame tree here and some palms. And then we're adding 20 new trees. So it's still conceptual, but
We're hoping for some pops of color. These are Bohinia currently as an option. These are the Tabuya, some citrus trees for different heights through here. Permeable pavers will likely be a solid gray where you're driving as a vehicular, and then when anywhere you're crossing or as pedestrian will have some sort of nice tan blend. And then also the patios will have their own pattern and blend, likely a tan. As Katie mentioned, this is a ramp down for access, and we created a little courtyard and patio, which will likely have benches. This will have some sort of large canopy tree, possibly a jacaranda, and then getting trees in the parking lot anywhere we can. Options currently are a fruitless olive or an island oak. And then over here is where we have our little patio with the pink trumpet trees and the pergola and just more seating areas and space. Happy to answer any questions. I think that summarizes most of the landscape.
Okay, thank you. We will open public comment on item 2.
Thank you, Chair Anderson. I'll start with in-person public comment. At this time, I do not have any slips for this project. If anyone...
I believe there's a gentleman who... Yep.
Okay.
I just have 2 quick questions.
Can you come up to the podium, please, sir? And push the button on the mic. Yeah, there you go.
Good afternoon. Thank you for hearing me. My name is Mike Risto. I live at 310 Samarkand Drive, 4 doors up from the motel. So I appreciate the design. I have 2 questions or concerns. One is the retaining wall along the west side, how that's being addressed. I couldn't quite get a clear picture of that. And I'll just express my second concern is the traffic that comes off of State Street onto De La Vina is always excessive. And I'm always fearful for my life, even to go get a cup of coffee at Starbucks or walk into Trader Joe's. But there's a lot of traffic that comes around there at too high of a speed. And I was hoping there would be some kind of traffic control there, especially when the entrance to the facility is so close to the intersection of De La Vina, fairly short around the corner. So I'd appreciate hearing about those.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If anyone else wishes to speak, please let me know. I see no one else moving in the audience to do so. So now we will turn our attention to virtual attendance. And we do not have any hands raised for virtual attendance on this project. And we did not receive any written correspondence. So at that, I'll turn it back over to you, Chair Anderson.
Great, thank you. And to address the public comment, do you have an elevation first on the retaining wall, do you have an elevation that we can look at?
Is he talking about the one that's along the property, the neighboring property, I think? I think he's talking about this
The
side
west
here.
side. Is that
Yeah,
west?
this side here, yeah. Not the frontage.
Is that existing wall? Is it new?
So we're talking about the one between the axle rods and the property? That's correct. Yes. Is this one? Dale Azam with the Housing Authority. That retaining wall does need some repair. It's located on the neighbor's property, which is the axle rods. And when we purchased the property, we approached them. They already had plans in the application with the city to do a repair. And so that work, it's not under the Housing Authority's auspices, but it's actually underway right now. That retaining wall is being repaired. So.
And I'm not sure it's in our purview about the traffic, so that, unfortunately, we won't be able to respond to that. But, okay, let's go to questions from the board. Board Member 6, would you like to begin?
Yes, thank you, Chair Anderson. I don't see a couple of non-aesthetic things, if I may. I would think that you'd want more to see more. Where is the bike parking? Is it just that one and that one?
Mm-hmm.
So just non-aesthetically, it would seem that a project like this would need more, so it's just a comment. And then you should check to see, or have you checked already, the exiting curved stairs have very limited use in proper exit stairs. So have you checked into that yet?
I believe so, but
Okay.
I'll double check on that.
All right. And you have looked into adding the extra weight for the mission tile on the structures?
Yeah.
Good, good. Real wood trim for the balconies and eaves and so forth, or?
We're still getting those details in, but that's our goal. It's kind of working with what's there.
Good. So you anticipate removing the wrought iron columns and railings along that balcony to do a true look? It's not just trying to cover up what's there, correct?
Yeah, that's our intent.
Good. And you'll be removing the lines?
Yes.
And so the existing windows are steel sash, so they're already slightly recessed from the...
Yeah, they are.
Great. The other question is, it looks like the existing French chimney is huge. You anticipate chipping some of that block away to make it more manageable in scale?
We've looked into it. I think we're cleaning it up and giving it coat of stucco so it's one piece, and then redoing the cap. And I think there's some signage and there's some extra stuff going on, but I think we're gonna look at either skinning it up or, because it's got kind of the flare.
Yeah, I would suggest, taking a look at chopping some of it off to
That's
get more reasonable proportions.
Yeah.
Those are all my questions.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Thank you, Chair Anderson. First of all, is the laundry new construction?
Yeah.
It is new construction. And what type of roof does it have? I saw flat roof in the elevation, and I saw a gable roof in the elevation.
I think we've got a flat roof with a little parapet on
Over
that.
there on the end.
Yeah,
And
right.
its access, it's a ground floor, so-called ground floor access. All right, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah.
Well, that southwest corner on San Marquand, it's so confusing on the drawings. I had to go out there to get in my mind what was going on. And it's clear the project is underway. Godspeed to you. The pool is gone. The porte cochere is gone. You're on your way. Let's see. In one of the photos, it showed a couple of Marburg brown bins. You talked about the trash enclosure may change. Did you mean that it may grow in size for adequacy?
No.
And will there be dumpster bins and the brown and recycle bins?
We're working that out. We might lose 2 parking spaces as our latest, just to get a turnaround in there.
Yes.
So that is,
You stole my other question, but that's okay.
yes. So that is in the works.
Let's see. And then there's a charming bay window existing in the office. Is that being retained?
Yes.
Thank you. Those are my questions.
Board Member Black, you'll have to turn your mic on.
I noticed, Katie, that you have Tipuana listed on your tree, as part of your tree scheduling, but you don't have any Tipuanas, right?
No, it was just conceptual list at this point.
Because I noticed you have a Bauhinia label, but Bauhinia is not on your list.
Okay.
So I was just kind of be clear about what's what, but.
Yeah.
And then would you consider, I was just looking at that up at the sort of the northeast parking area, and you've got a single tree there in the middle. It seems like, would you consider adding another couple of trees just to kind of give yourself a little shade cover for those parking spaces? Do you have room for that there?
Yeah, we can take a look at that. I think that would be nice. It's really tight there. There's an overhang. You can see the car.
Well, there is.
So it's already kind of tight.
Well, if you could look.
Yeah, we'll study it.
Those are my only questions. Oh, also quick, so is it Myers Lemon that you're suggesting?
Yeah.
How big do those get?
Well, it depends on
I should know
if we
that,
do
but-
like a semi-door for a dwarf, but I think we would want something larger, and maybe we look into not doing a Meyer, but something like more of a, like medium-sized tree, I think would be nice.
Orange
Sure.
tree?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I thought citrus of some sort would be nice.
Okay, thank you.
Board Member Noon?
I don't have much. Can you go back to the elevation, if you would? Just, you're showing some, those overhangs on the double doors. Those are just cantilevered off the wall with some wood structure.
Yeah.
And tile, and then the one down in the corner, that's fabric? Is that what you're showing with
Over
metal?
the lobby entry, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was it for now. Yep.
Board Member Anderson?
Were there particular historical precedents you looked at for this design?
No, just more kind of working with what is there and making it work with kind of the neighborhood context of.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. I'll follow up on a question with the awning that Board Member Noon asked. Have you considered the fabric on the northwest elevation over those doors versus the tile to keep it lighter? Have you considered?
We could explore that, yeah.
Look at that?
No.
Okay. And then for the transformer, I'm assuming you have enough landscape to buffer that view of it, or is there access that's needed?
Yeah, it's always the game. You need clearance, so we could do something low, and maybe we can push it back a little. So we'll look at that, give it a little more room there. The idea was to kind of hide it behind the parking a little bit, too.
Sure. Okay. And then can you just point out the location of the pergola?
Yeah. It's out here in this corner.
Okay. Okay. Any follow-up questions?
Yes, Chair Anderson, back to the trash. It always comes down to the trash. Could you talk about the enclosure?
We're just planning on stucco walls with a sandstone cap,
Right,
about 6 feet.
6 feet. And the gates,
Gates, solid metal.
okay? Very
or-
good, thank you.
yeah.
Any other questions? All right, let's go into comments. So they're here for concept. They want to come back for prelim final on consent possibly. So if you could direct your comments, be pretty specific in how they would meet the different guidelines and what you'd like to see for them to come back on consent. Board Member 6? Oh, sure.
I guess it's to Pilar. We were under the understanding, because of AB 2162, that this was more of a courtesy, so that we would not have to come back.
Through the chair to the applicant, no, it doesn't waive design review, so you still have to receive design approval. We're just trying to
I
move
think
it
this is
forward.
a situation where there's a
Yeah.
conflict between state law and city
Mhm.
practice.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah, so that would be separate discussion. It doesn't waive design review, so they're.
So anyway, just to
yeah.
point out, we didn't
Sure.
realize we would need to come back, but,
oh,
as we said, we are looking for feedback, so, yeah.
So to the chair, yeah, our direction is to see if it can go to consent, because obviously that's a lower tier of review, so we can move this project along as soon as possible. Thank you.
okay. Board Member 6?
Yeah, I think it's a very exciting reuse and handsomely done. I think it's a great project. I think that usually a project this size needs all the eyes of the full board to pick up the details, but in the effort to be, perhaps maybe on consent, we could have a few more volunteers for that day to work that out. Off my...
Maybe. I was thinking we could be pretty specific, and then it would help the consent, possibly, if we all agree, it could help the consent reviewers, but.
Yeah, well, I think the one comment that I would make is that I'm looking forward. I think the details about, the new Spanish with, the wood trim, making sure that I notice on the existing structures, there's variations in the depth and nature of the eave conditions, so it'd be very important to see the spanification of all those various eave details to make them look appropriate. And, how do you handle, a wood rafter or all that kind of thing. How does the wood at the, it looks like wood at the edge of the balcony, detail itself out? Usually those are difficult waterproofing issues, and maybe a project, whatever the walk material are, it's very difficult to get a authentic looking edge to that balcony. I myself think that awnings at the entries of the northwest elevation are too insignificant. I think that they're more lasting to have the full corbels and tile. Maybe the renderings here are a little heavy. Maybe those could be lightened up. Again, we already talked about the proportions of the existing chimney. Just details, I think, are very important, that you have your full details and make them the more traditional and classic they look. I think the easier we could see that's passed at consent. But it's a real challenge when you have an existing variations to the eaves and various conditions that it looks classic and authentic. That would be my only challenge that I think would be before you. But other than that, I think it's a great project. It's very appropriate, and I look forward to seeing it.
Vice Chair Whalen?
I would reiterate that they're very handsome Spanish colonial revival-ish elevations. It does fulfill the neighborhood plan, the design guidelines, and it more importantly, it relates to the office building across the street, giving some cohesiveness to the neighborhood, which I think is important. As I say, the Samarkand elevation, I think, is especially improved with the elimination of the parking and the landscaping that's appropriate there. I do think that there's a very handsome, I don't think there's a street tree designation for Samarkand, but there are some very, very handsome eucalyptus-ish. I was consulting with Member Black on what they are. I would encourage you to investigate a couple of those in the parkway. I didn't see any trees specifically in the parkway, but to develop that as a street tree, forgiving me for not knowing specifically which it was, but they're very beautiful, handsome, green and lush trees. They're Those are my comments. Thank you.
Board Member Black?
Yeah, I'd agree with those comments, obviously, and then obviously, when you come back, we're going to have full planting and irrigation plans for final. Thank you.
Board Member New?
I also agree with previous comments. Board Member 6 covered what I was going to say about the size of the balconies, the canopies and the chimney. I don't think that needs to be hashed out anymore. And I agree of, getting you guys through. I think you've done a good job so far. So going to consent, I think with the appropriate details that you'll provide, I think we could easily hand that in consent.
Board Member Anderson?
I just want to add on to that about the depth of the actual windows and like this idea of mass-based architecture and how that's really, working on this where you've kind of flipped 1970s or whatever era wood frame low-rise building. These old Spanish colonial buildings like the Presidio were masonry, so that's how they got the depth on that. And it just looks kind of superficial, the treatment right now, and I think that's, where the details, like Board Member 6 is pointing out, it can come in. There's not a fidelity or resolution in these drawings that we can respond to really for that. Just, quickly looking at it, it's kind of like a flavor, but, I'm careful to kind of make this a kind of modus operandi for, because we've seen a lot of projects come through here, and it seems like claiming to, once you put the terracotta roof, that's like the free pass through. So I want to just kind of, push back a little on that and kind of question just specifically through the window jamb detail, for example, one of many possible details, what we're really looking at here.
Okay, thank you. I think we'll do a vote on if it should go to consent or not, because for prelim final, as mentioned, and I'm sure you guys are aware of the list of details that are required for us to give final, which is also required for building department submittal, which maybe it sounds like you're already there. So as long as you understand what I think we're asking for as far as the detail level and the type of details and the quality of the details and of the quality of this architectural style, then I could support it coming to consent for the reviewers to see that. So, yes.
Chair Anderson, might I suggest, you have quite a bit of time. You have a lot of drawing to do and development. I was wondering if it would hinder your progress if we had kind of a progress review limited to their progress on the details. We could give that.
I don't know how that would benefit.
Would that help? To assure you that when you get to final that, it's not so overwhelming and surprising. Any input?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Through the chair, Board Member 6, in-progress reviews are something that can occur after project design approval. That is something. There's also additional concept reviews. I think in this case, we're just trying to move this forward so they can proceed with their building permit. For building permit submittal, you need complete working construction drawings. So that should have all the details responsive to what the board members are saying. As long as your comments are clear as far as, what details you're looking at for the next submittal, I think that they can accommodate that, as part of their final approval set that they'll be returning with. So that would be my recommendation. It's at the discretion of the board, but yeah.
Well, if I may, Chair Anderson, it's not so much, everybody, there's a certain amount of details that one needs we're just concerned that those details are designed in such a way that, you know, there's authenticity to it and don't look like a cover-up of the French whatever it is now. So I would think that, and
Well, I think
the
maybe.
applicant would know what
Yeah.
the details she or they would be struggling with.
Sure.
And come back and just get a blessing.
Well, then I think we can give them a motion for the concept review today, an indefinite continuance, and they can, and then you can email us and ask to get it on consent later or something.
Yeah, that would be appropriate too. So it can just be an indefinite continuance, and if they file saying that they would like for a decision at the next hearing, that's their prerogative as well. Thanks.
And in our motion, we can say either consent or not consent. Would that work for everyone on the board? Okay, so let's do a little straw vote just on if you think it should come back for consent or full board. So I guess the motion would be this project can come back on consent. So yes or no? No, can you take a vote, please?
Okay, yes, we'll do a vote. How many board members can support this project going to consent? Show of hands.
Uh-oh. Oh. Four? Okay.
Okay, so it passed. Motion passes.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion for indefinite continuance back to the consent review calendar with the following comments. The board appreciates the Spanish colonial style to the existing building. The board finds that this project is an acceptable and supportable redevelopment project. The board can find preliminary compatibility findings and preliminary urban design guidelines and preliminary upper State Street design guidelines. The applicant shall provide appropriate eave details, balcony details, awning details, chimney details, door and window jamb head sill details, lighting specifications and locations, planting and irrigation plans, all that reflect the traditional Spanish colonial architectural style.
I'll second that if you're, go ahead.
I'll second that if I think that we should compliment them on the radical reduction of asphalt and.
Oh, yes, please.
And increased landscape. Beautifully done.
Should get that. Yes, that's acceptable. Oh, and then one last thing, if you can find more bike parking, that would be very much recommended. Did we get it? Okay, well, let's take a vote. Oh, okay. Let's take a vote, sorry.
Chair Anderson?
Yes.
Vice Chair Whalen?
Yes.
Board Member Anderson?
No.
Board Member Black?
Yes.
Board Member Noon?
Yes.
Board Member Six?
No.
Okay. Motion passes. And Board Member Anderson, your reasons for voting no, please?
It's going to consent. That's what we're voting on, right? And so I'm opposed to that, so that's why I voted no.
Okay.
And Board Member Six?
Yeah, I'm also concerned. I would think that there would be at least some progress review short before it went to consent.
Okay, well, thank you. Good luck, hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
And we'll adjourn our ABR meeting for today, February 3rd.
Thank you.